Taylor Rapp here from the LA Rams. Shout out to Steve Taylor, the real sports guy, and the honorary Ram. When Steve's talks sports, you better listen. Thanks, Steve from the Rams, for your continued support and love. We are taking it all the way this year, but you already know that. Go Rams.
With Prince Bell, we rocking with Keeping It Real Sports, and we gonna be on this. We gonna be on a lot of times. I love the platform. Check in. It's the new wave. Like, follow, subscribe, and do all that good stuff.
Come on. Told you I got you. Wanna talk about his game, he can talk about it. Tennis, match, golf, he can talk about it. Don't matter what it is, he can talk about it. Any sport dude, he know about it. Say your boy bum, don't doubt it. If he tell you that it is what it is. The real sports guy in the Sandman. Talk show game in the bag, man. Rep, gon' have to throw the flag, man. Steve Taylor, Andy Sands. It's over, OVA. Game over, they don't play. From the fourth quarter to the ninth inning. NASCAR wheels keep spinning. To the 18th hole, he's still in control. Eye on the goal. Coach never missing the play, cause he know the deal. This keeping it real. Sports. Come on. Keeping it real. Yeah. Let's go.
Oh, it's Saturday morning in the Glass City. I'm in the Glass City. He's in Cleveland. I'm the real sports guy, Steve Taylor. He's the Sandman. And we got another big show for you. NFL, we're going to rock it out. We got NBA. We got Between the Circles making its return. Andy, what's happening, brother?
Hey, Steve, you talked about it last week. You said that the white stuff was coming, and it's here. So we've got it here in Cleveland. I don't know about you in Toledo, but first snow of the year, right before Christmas. Not surprised, but I'm doing great. I'm ready for a fun show. We got a big show, lots to talk about, a lot of variety to talk about. So let's get right in it with Hot Off the Press.
Let's get right into it, man. But you know what, Andy? How many shows got its own theme song? Man, shout out to JP, man, for putting that together for us. Man, did he rock that or what, man?
Yeah, I'm loving it.
I mean, shout out to JP.
I listen to it outside of the show. It's got a good beat, you know what I'm saying?
He be rocking, man. Yeah, JP, he's the real deal. I'll tell you what else is the real deal. Hot Off the Press.
Listen, Steve, you and I have been doing this show for a long time. I think this is the first time since we started the show that we kick it off with a championship soccer match, right? Wow. It's the one that everybody expected to happen is going to happen. Finally, we get Argentina and France live on Fox tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. I'm going to be stuck to the TV. My wife's going to be stuck to the TV. If she finds out you're not rooting for France, don't speak to her for a long time.
Well, look, man, you got to rock with Mbappe. I mean, the dude is, man, getting ready to do some legendary things, man. He's getting ready to break Pele. I said Pele. I'm talking about the king. No, not the king. The king of soccer. Pele. Mbappe is getting ready to do what he done and maybe even one-up him. Man, the dude is the real deal.
Well, he's already got one. That's what we've got that graphic up for you. He's already got one because they won it 4 years ago. And he said his number one goal was to repeat. There was all that distraction with Paris Saint-Germain and him wanting out of his contract. Once the World Cup started, that all went away. Everybody gets along now. And Steve, he is the best player on planet Earth right now.
Without a doubt.
But he's going up against the best player ever tomorrow in Lionel Messi.
You know what they call a bee that can't make honey anymore? They call him a used to be. Messi used to be the best. Mbappe is the best. I'm just saying, bro. I'm just saying.
I said ever. I said Messi was the best ever. Mbappe is the best right now.
Hang on, hey, bro. Have you ever heard of Pele? Have you ever heard of Pele? Don't ever disrespect Pele when we talking soccer. The best player ever is Pele, not Messi.
All right.
He'll make a Messi out of Messi. I'm just saying.
I made a
Let's
Messi out of
quick
that segment.
That's quick hit. Quick hitters.
All right, Steve. Well, it's a sad one to start with, but it's something we had to bring on to the show. Unfortunately, we lost a trademark coach in college football earlier this week. Mike Leach passed away at the age of 61. Had a heart condition, had a couple of heart attacks, just could never recover from any of that. But Steve, was there a more entertaining man on the sideline than Mike Leach?
Not at all. I mean, if you got a chance to see when they asked him, you know, how do you want your obituary written? He said, man, that ain't my problem. That's your problem, man. I'll be dead, man.
Yeah.
That's the kind of dude he was. But let's talk about his coaching tree, okay? Lincoln Riley is on that coaching tree. We're talking Dana Holgorsen on that coaching tree. Sonny Dykes, okay? Oh, by the way, these are guys that are in the playoffs, okay? These are guys that have legendary, man, offenses, man. That Cliff Kingsbury is on that coaching tree. Mike Leach teaches quarterback play, man. That's what he does, man. That's what he's always done. Mike Leach is one of the greats.
Yeah, and then NFL, I should say, big blow for the Cardinals. Not like they had a chance, Steve, but they have no chance now whatsoever, regardless of how much help they might get. Forget about it. Colt McCoy's their starting quarterback. It's over. Kyler Murray out for the season with a torn ACL, which you, my friend, I have to give you credit because you texted me and said, that's it, he tore his ACL. I know because I did it myself, and that's exactly how it looked. That's exactly how it felt. And now, Steve, they have to be concerned about the start of next season more so than the end of this season.
Well, here's the thing. Now, Steve Kine, the GM, has taken a leave of absence. For what? Because you done disrupted the damn team? Now you want to get out? What the hell is up with that? Man, you know, if Cliff Kingsbury your guy, you just paid him the bag, you gave him the bag, he ain't delivering. I'm just saying, it's a lot that has to be answered in Arizona. We gonna need answers to those questions. Just saying.
I think Cliff Kingsbury is a college coach. I think he's done in the NFL.
Well, we shall see. Hey, you know what's next? Oh, by the way.
All right, Steve Taylor, you and I have known each other for 20 years. We have done a lot, and I mean a lot of games together back in the day when we were together at BCSN.
Yeah, but we ain't did this many.
If you count this show, great, that's fine. But this is something special, okay? And I put this in here because it tied in to our relationship from day one. Stu Holden and John Strong called their 300th match together on Fox on Wednesday in the semifinal between France and England. And I'm telling you right now, France and Morocco. And I'm telling you right now, this is hard to do, folks. It's not hard to do in terms of getting the opportunity to do the number. It's hard to do in terms of being able to do it together for 300. Okay?
Impressive. I mean, I tell you what else is impressive, Andy, is our Heisman winner. We told you who was going to win the thing. We told you Caleb Williams would win it. He indeed won it. That makes not just one, not just two, but 3 Heisman Trophy winners for Lincoln Riley. I'm just going to answer you real quick. Yes or no answer. Is Lincoln Riley the reason?
Yes.
You better damn well believe it.
Yeah. Hey, Steve, Drew Brees was been in the news a lot for negative reasons lately, but I really like this reason. He's going to join the coaching staff for Purdue after Jeff Brom left to take another head coaching job, and he's going to be an assistant. Well, look who coached him for all those years in the NFL, Sean Payton. I mean, Drew Brees is setting himself up to be a head coach in college football and potentially the NFL, and I think this is a great way to start.
Absolutely. I tell you what else, man. Man, last Saturday night, and still your champion at 147 pounds, Bud Crawford with a stunning 6-round KO. And I tell you, it was picture perfect. People, I don't understand. how people who know the game of boxing don't understand how to call the game of boxing. I'm a little bit disappointed in Antonio Tarver and his call on this fight because he didn't see what Bud Crawford was doing. He was setting this dude up for the uppercut and the left hook. The uppercut set him up. The left hook put him out. It was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
You know what else is beautiful? Between the Circles is back this week.
Yeah, it is back. So you want to go between the circles?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's go between the circles for the first time in the last month. And what a month it's been in the NHL. First, let's start with history made this week. On Tuesday night, Alex Ovechkin became only the third player in the history of the National Hockey League to score 800 goals, and he did it with a hat trick. 798, 799, and 800 all came against the Chicago Blackhawks. Ovechkin remains one goal behind Gordie Howe for second all-time. Wayne Gretzky is the all-time leader in NHL goals scored with 894. And because of that chase, Ovechkin has trademarked his own phrase for chasing this number and eventually tracking down Gordie Howe to finish second all-time. He may have enough left in him to catch Wayne Gretzky, who knows? But for right now, it's the great chase that awaits. All right, that wasn't the only history made. Earlier this week, another streak was on the line as Mitch Marner tried to get to Wayne Gretzky's 51-game point streak. He almost got halfway there, but Marner's streak comes to an end on Thursday after not scoring any points that night, and it ends at 23 games, 11 goals, and 21 assists. What else happened this week in the NHL? Well, this had to be one of the other top stories. Chris Letang returns to the ice only 12 days after suffering his second stroke at the age of 35 already. Now, he does have a heart condition, and that's what's believed to have caused both of them. But last time Letang was out with a stroke, he missed months. This time, he only misses 12 days, and he helped the Penguins win 2 games earlier this week. Another story to keep an eye on the rest of this month and going in towards the trade deadline. Where will this man end up? Patrick Kane is one of three teams are in the market for his services. Those being the New York Islanders, the New York Rangers, and the Los Angeles Kings. All have the draft capital, all have the salary cap to take on a player like Kane. And I promise you, if he goes to any one of those teams, they will be considered one of the favorites in their respective conferences. And we talk about all the time on this show how great Connor McDavid really is. Folks, you're witnessing the second coming of Wayne Gretzky. I'm telling you right now, this kid is above everybody else, and it's not even close. Look at these numbers. Connor McDavid already has 60 points in only 31 games, 27 goals, 33 assists. That makes him on pace for 80 or more goals. The last player to score 80 or more, Brett Hull with the St. Louis Blues, who had 86 goals in the 1990-91 season. And that'll do it for this week's edition of Between the Circles. All right, partner, storylines time. Let's take a look at some games from last week that are going to set us up for games that are important this week. All right, let's start right around your hometown in Detroit. The Lions. Steve, the Lions are slowly but surely sneaking up those standings. And now they're on the outside looking in still, but it's a team that I don't think anybody wants to play because Jared Goff, that same Jared Goff is playing the best quarterback play of anybody in the NFL in the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, Andy, absolutely. You know, I tried to warn you that the Lions were up and coming, and I wasn't lying. I'm telling you, these guys got it going. Jared Goff has it going, but didn't we tell you at the beginning of the season, the emergence of Amon-Ra St. Brown? We told you that this kid was coming. Well, he is here, people. He has arrived. Amon-Ra St. Brown is the real deal. But you know who they play tomorrow? They play the New York Jets. And guess what happened in New York, Andy, this week? Mike White, he can't answer the bell. Guess who's back? Zach's back. Andy, you got a problem with that? Are you good with Wilson starting with Mike White's injury?
I guess the reason would be, Steve, over Flacco is his athleticism. That's because, to me, I don't know any other reason why you wouldn't start Joe Flacco. He's a better quarterback.
5-2.
Zach Wilson's a head case, right?
The kid is immature. That's more so, but he's still 5-2. You can say what you want, Andy. He's 5-2 this year.
That's true. At the same time, though, Steve, this is your number one pick from a couple years ago.
Yeah.
They've got to find out if this is going to work or not, because if it doesn't, they're going to have to look for another quarterback. And his name is not Mike White. He's not the answer in New York. Trust me.
Well, you know who else may be looking for another quarterback?
The Denver Broncos.
Yeah, man, because guess what's going on in Denver? Russ got benched. Russ, not going to ride. Not going to ride. It's going to be...
I'll tell you what, you have been, speaking of that, riding him about that all season. You like that one? Yeah, you know what? I'm okay with this decision. Denver's terrible, Steve. They have no chance in the playoffs. They have no chance of even being competitive right now because Russell Wilson doesn't have DK Metcalf, he doesn't have Tyler Lockett, and he doesn't have Pete Carroll calling his plays for him, okay? So I don't know.
He ain't got that damn defense. How about that? Let's go there.
That's part of it too. I don't know if he's as good as we thought he was. I think he's truly being exposed in Denver right now. But let's go back to the NFC real quick because you talked about the Lions coming, right?
Right.
So do they get in?
Yes, the Lions get in. I'm gonna tell you who's out. The New York Giants. That's a facade. They're out like a scout on a new route. We're going to find that out this weekend when they play the Commodores. And Taylor Heineke and Lionel Richie and company.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah, put the Lions in.
Well, listen, the last time those two teams played, it was a tie, right? And
yeah, because they both stink out loud.
Well, they flexed that game into Sunday night. I'm actually really looking forward to it because to me, the winner of that game is in, the loser is out. I couldn't agree more. But Steve, you forgot to put a team up there that is still technically not out of it because of how bad their division is, and it's the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, it's the reason I didn't put them up there.
Yeah, I know. But still, I'm just saying, if you're going to put the Saints at 4-9, you should have the Panthers in there 5-8. That's all.
I'd rather, yeah. I believe more in the Saints than I do in the Panthers.
All right. Well, let's go back to storyline.
Ain't neither one of them getting in. It don't matter.
Well, that's true too. All right. So, hey, credit to our boy Sav. Right? He said all along that this was a lock on best bets last week because of the 17-point spread. You never take a favorite in a spread that large. I don't care who's playing.
Nobody in there feels 17 points.
Not in the NFL. Exactly.
Nobody.
So, but Steve, at the same time, even though a lot of people want to criticize Dallas because of how close this game was, I think they deserve credit for still finding a way to win. That's what the NFL is all about. It's about finding a way to win. It doesn't matter who your opponent is or what their record is.
Did you watch the damn game?
I did.
Okay.
I watched Dak lead a game-winning drive.
Yeah, but did you see the damn Houston Texans fail on 4th and goal on the 1? What the hell are you doing? Get a damn yard and you win the game, Houston. What the hell are you doing?
Well, I think the Texans are in the position they're in because they went away from Davis Mills. I think you should have stuck with him.
They're in the position that they are because they're 1-11-1. Well, there's a whole lot of ones there, Andy.
There's
a whole lot of ones.
You know where there's a lot of ones at, too? On the internet, because people were blowing up Micah Parsons and Jalen Hurts this week. Tell me about it.
Well, Von Miller, Micah Parsons goes on the Von Miller podcast, and Von Miller asked him, is Jalen Hurts the MVP? Is he the reason for the Eagles' success? And Micah Parsons says, no, not really. It's more of a team thing. Well, I tell you what, you've just pissed off a bunch of Eagles a week away from a major contest, Mr. Parsons. I tell you, Mr. Parsons has been kind of quiet. And if you notice, when Mr. Parsons gets his sacks, he gets them in bunches. It's not like he's getting them every week. He might go 2 weeks without getting a sack, but he might get 3 that week. I'm just saying, I can't wait to see Jalen Hurts, the MVP, line up against Mr. Parsons and company. I can't wait. In the words of Bart Scott, can't wait.
All right, let's wrap up storylines with this one here. All right, you and I have been hard on the Chargers all year, Steve, and rightfully so because they still have a weak defense. But Miami beating Miami was a big win. At the same time, they're finally healthy as well. Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Austin Eckler, they're all on the field with Justin Herbert. Does that now put them in the playoffs?
Maybe because the damn Patriots aren't going to make it. So by default, they just may make it in. The Jets got a hellacious schedule. They may back in. We don't know what's up with Miami. Miami has to play Buffalo tonight in 9 inches of snow. So we don't know. Man, I tell you, the thing with Miami is puzzling because they didn't run the damn football. I mean, ain't that what Mike McDaniel did in San Francisco? They ran the damn football. Why didn't they run the football against them? It remains to be seen. But I tell you what, if they don't figure it out soon, they'll be at home trying to figure it out. I'm just saying.
Well, and now it's time for who you got with our NFL Pick 6. So that Raiders-Patriots game might make an appearance in this segment.
Yeah, let's put it up and find out.
All right, there it is. Obviously, it's got to be in there, right? Because
Absolutely.
to me, if the Patriots lose this game, they're done. Forget it. They can't back in. They can't get help.
Right.
They're done.
Right.
They have to win this game to have any chance of making the playoffs. And you know what? Mac Jones is not the answer in New England. And whether he makes it through the end of this year or not, he is not the answer. They will be moving on from Mac Jones at the end of the season. So, as much as I said all that, and we said the Patriots weren't going to make the playoffs, they are playing the Raiders, right? And you and I have not had good luck with picking the Raiders this year. However, they can now play the role of spoiler. I think they do it. I think they find a way to send New England packing early. Give me the Raiders at home.
Man, Andy, I totally disagree with you on your take on Mac Jones. I think Mac Jones is the guy for them. It's the plays that they're calling, man. Nothing is thrown down the field. Everything is at or behind the line of scrimmage. That's not Mac Jones' problem.
Well, that's what happens when you put a defensive coordinator as your offensive
That's
coordinator.
exactly what I was getting ready to follow up and say. You finished my point. Exactly. So it's not Mac Jones. Mac Jones is being handcuffed by this offense. That said, I like the Raiders in this game.
All right, we talked about it a little while ago, Steve. The Commanders and the Giants. This was a absolute fantastic football game the last time these two teams met. They tied at 20 apiece. Now, that tie could hurt or help them depending on how this week goes. That was in New York, right? Washington is a very good football team that I don't think a lot of people acknowledge enough. They're at home. I think the Giants are a fraud this year. I think that changes next year after they increase their roster a little bit more in the draft. So I'm going to take the Commanders at home.
Well, I don't think the Giants are frauds. I think they're well coached. Brian Daboll's done a great job, man, coaching with what he has. He has limited options. The only thing he has is, Saquon Barkley. That's it. They've done great with just that. They're going to play the Commodores and Lionel Richie. And I tell you, the Commodores and Lionel Richie get Chase Young back this week. That's going to be big for that defense. Give me the Commodores to get another hit.
All right, and the Lions and the Jets, both of the Lions have to have this game more than the Jets because the Jets are still above 500, right? Detroit is below 500, so they can't afford another loss. And because of that and the way Jared Goff is playing and the fact that I still think Zach Wilson doesn't know where he is or what he is, I'm going to take Detroit on the road.
You know, Andy, have you been paying attention to what I've been telling you about Detroit the last few weeks?
Oh, by the way, Steve, I think Jameson Williams has a lot to do with how good Jared Goff's been.
He just played one game.
I'm just saying.
Look, the Lions are Jekyll and Hyde away from home. They're playing away from home, outside, in the cold. Oh, it's a recipe for disaster. Give me the Jets. The Jets. Jets to win.
All right, so there you have it, our pick six. Let's transition now to the court, if we could, sir. And let's start with the NBA. Last week we started a brand new feature. I don't want to call it a segment because it's just a short little feature called the NBA Team of the Week. Our first team of the week was the Boston Celtics. Couple of teams we could have gone with this week, Steve, but I think without
Memphis
question,
had a
we made
great
the right
week.
choice.
They were really close to being up there. Memphis had a great week. But I tell you what, the team, man, of the week, this week, man, this team has put it together. The Brooklyn Nets. Did you see Kyrie last night? Nothing but net as he hits the game winner. A walk-off. Man, hey, look, he carried them dudes last night, man. You got to give it to him. My hat's off to the Nets, man. They're turning it around.
Yeah, and you got to, you had to figure that was going to happen eventually once they got the whole Steve Nash drama taken care of, right, Steve? This team has way too much talent to have been out of even the play-in part of the playoffs. Now they're up pushing for home court. That's what we expected from this team, and this was the week for us to pick them without question.
Yeah. So that gets us to our college segment, man, where we break down, give you our top 5 college teams. We call it our Fab 5. So let's give this week's, Fab 5, our rankings, man. And Andy, not much has changed from last week, man. As we look at our number 5 team, it's the Tennessee Volunteers, man. Tennessee, a plethora of ways to beat you. Bruce Pearl getting up and down, man. We're going to look at them. We've got some great matchups that we'll talk about in a little bit. But, man, Tennessee comes in at number 5.
Number 4, staying steady at number 4 here, Steve. And
they are.
What is it that you like about the Huskies, and why do you feel they can be a top seed come tournament time?
Andy, they've got 2 of everything. They're like Noah's Ark. They've got 2 of everything. They've got 2 big men. They've got 2 guards. They've got 2 forwards. Everything they've got 2 of. They can just beat you a ton of different ways. Watch out for these Huskies, man.
All right, number 3. To me, the best conference in college basketball is the Big Ten because of how deep it is. But right now, these guys are standing above everybody else week after week.
Yeah, and the reason why they stand above everybody is because of Edey in the middle. He's the biggest dude on the floor every doggone game. And the Boilermakers are starting to come around and center themselves around him. Boilermakers, number 3.
Number 2, the Virginia Cavaliers staying steady and making a lot of noise along the way.
Andy, they have experienced guard play. When you have not 1, not 2, but 3 guards that can make shots from the outside and put pressure on the defense, Virginia, and they're going to be in a first-class matchup. A little bit later on, we'll talk about that one.
Yeah, well, Steve, our number 1 team lost this week, but they lost to another team that if we had a top 10 would be in our top 10. So for that reason, we felt like they deserved to stay at number 1.
Well, they blew a 15-point lead, and Alabama, yes, Alabama, they would be number 6 in our countdown this week. Alabama found a way to get it done, but Houston in that guard play, man, they just get it done, man. I love Calvin Sampson. I love his team.
So after the first of the year, the BDI comes back, right?
It comes back, sir.
That's the time to bring it back. So that's when we'll get into our top 10. But before we get to one last thing, Steve, let's take a look at some of those matchups that you were talking about earlier that we should all keep our eye on this weekend. And there are still a couple games we're going to mention that didn't even make this list. But let's start with the teams that we have in our top 10 first. We talked about Tennessee. They got a big one with Arizona. Where do you have Arizona right now?
Number 9. We have them number 9. So you're looking at a 5-9 matchup, man, in our poll, man. This is going to be a great matchup. Tennessee goes to Arizona to play Arizona. We'll find out a lot about Tennessee and Arizona later on today.
All right, we talked about Alabama beating Houston earlier this week. They got another test with Gonzaga, who I believe you have right at the bottom of the top 10, ranked 10. And, Drew Timme is still there, Steve. So as long as Drew Timme is still there, Gonzaga is going to be one of the 10 best teams in the country.
Absolutely. Strawman starting to come around, man, fill it up from the outside. A lot of young players for Gonzaga. Gonzaga's played a top-heavy schedule thus far in the season. They're 1-3 against ranked teams. The only win was against Kentucky, but boy, was that a big one. Alabama gets to back up last week's win against Gonzaga this week. So we're going to see if Alabama was a one-time step. But I'm going to tell you what, that kid Miller for Alabama is the real deal, man. He is a 3-and-D guy that can flat shoot the ball, man. He kind of looks like Kevin Durant. He's got that kind of size, got that kind of shot, man. Man, I tell you what, very, very dangerous.
Well, and Alabama's got a chance to move up in our rankings if they win that game as well.
Absolutely.
If they beat number 1 and number 10, they've got to be in the top 5, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Right. They definitely do. But the game of the week, Andy, it's got to be Houston and Virginia, number 1 versus number 2, man. And Houston goes to Virginia to play them. So, man, we're going to find out if Houston's guards, Sasser and company, can really deal with the pressure that the Virginia guards are going to put on them. Man, this is going to be a very, very stellar matchup. And Andy, other matchups, man, that we didn't make our top matchups is going to be Indiana against Kansas, and then later on UCLA against Kentucky. Man, and then I didn't even talk about our beloved Ohio State Buckeyes, who has to play North Carolina later on today. So, man, it's just a great day of basketball.
Yeah, and you know what, Steve? The one thing that I'm noticing as well is I think for the first time in the last 5-10 years, the women's college basketball teams are just as strong as the men's. And to your point about Ohio State, the Buckeyes, the Lady Buckeyes, are ranked number 3 in the country, and they are blowing people out every single night.
Yeah, the most impressive victory on their slate has been a win at Tennessee, where they beat Tennessee, but they had to come from behind to do it, but they did it.
Yeah, exactly. All right, we talked about it earlier, but before we go, we've got one last thing to take a look at. And earlier this week, the NBA announced that it is now going to be the Michael Jordan Most Valuable Player trophy. Steve, break down the look of this trophy as to why they decided to design it this way.
Yeah, and if you look at it, man, a lot of it is based off of Michael Jordan's achievements and Michael Jordan, what he's done. You got a 5-sided base. You've got a 6-sided nameplate. Why 6-sided nameplate? Because it represents the 6 championships. The 23-point faceted crystal ball. Why is that? Because that's his jersey number. I'm just saying. Hey, look, the 15 angle degree base, that's a nod to his 15 seasons that he played, okay? It's got the 5-sided bases because of the 5 MVPs. People, it's all about Mike. It's all about Mike. And everybody wants to be like Mike. I'm just saying.
I'm excited about this. I think it's going to be good for the league. And, it's about time they gave Michael Jordan some recognition outside of a trophy and talking about him. Now they're actually putting something in people's hands that are saying you deserve this because you were one of the greatest ever.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah. It's a nice tradition to him, But that's it, man. Hey, look, 64 of them in the books, man. It's been fun, but we got to run for the Sandman. Until next week.
I wish you love.
And peace. Deuces. We'll talk to you later.